Melody Shari has always been known as a woman who walks with confidence, grace, and strength. Over the years, she's faced public battles, personal betrayals, and moments that tested her deeply. But every time, she's chosen to rise above and focus on what truly matters: her peace, her purpose, and her family legacy. Recently, Melody made it clear once again that she's not here to entertain drama, but to protect what's sacred to her. Her recent comments sent a message not just to those around her, but to anyone watching who might still misunderstand her intentions or her journey. When Melody said, "What's sacred is this ceremony," she was speaking from a place of meaning and reflection. She was reminding everyone that some things are not meant for public display or social media speculation. Some things belong only to those who understand their deeper purpose. In this moment, Melody was standing in full awareness of who she is and what she represents. She made it known that not every event, gathering, or milestone in her life needs to be broadcasted to the world. The word she used, sacred, carried weight. It was a declaration that there are parts of her life she chooses to keep protected, private, and purposeful. Melody emphasized that what's sacred is her returning to a place where she represents her family bloodline with honor. This statement showed how deeply connected she is to her roots, her faith, and her sense of purpose. For her, this isn't about fame or the spotlight. It's about legacy and intention. When she mentioned, "So I'm going to need him to look up sacred first," it felt like a calm but firm response to someone who might have misunderstood or questioned the significance of what she was doing. Melody wasn't being defensive, she was being clear. She wanted to set the record straight, to remind everyone that not everything she does is for attention or to prove a point. There's a deeper meaning in her actions, and she's unapologetic about protecting that. Over the years, we've seen Melody face criticism from different directions: friends, castmates, and even viewers. But no matter what, she's continued to define herself on her own terms. This was another one of those moments where she drew a line between what's public and what's personal. Melody's words revealed something important about where she stands in her life right now. She's not reacting anymore, she's responding with purpose. There's a sense of calm in how she addresses things now, a quiet strength that says she doesn't need validation. When she speaks about what's sacred, she's talking about boundaries, respect, and self-awareness. It's a reminder that not every battle needs to be fought in the open and not every truth needs to be shared online. Sometimes, peace comes from knowing when to protect your space. Looking back, Melody has gone through years of challenges that taught her the value of keeping some things private. From her very public divorce to the constant tension among the cast of Love and Marriage, Huntsville, she's had to balance being real with being reserved. This recent moment wasn't just about a ceremony, it was about control over her narrative. She's choosing what to share and what to keep to herself, and that's growth. Many viewers noticed the tone of her message. It wasn't bitter. It wasn't petty. It was grounded, mature, and direct. She's no longer operating from pain but from peace. There's a lesson in that. When someone learns to guard what's sacred, they stop allowing noise to disturb their spirit. Melody has clearly reached that point. Over the last year, we've seen her focus more on her businesses, her children, and her personal evolution. Even when things around her get messy, whether it's social media rumors, cast feuds, or speculation about her love life, she doesn't lose her composure. She's intentional about how she moves. And that's what makes her message hit even harder. It's not just about the ceremony. It's about honoring her roots and the people who came before her. For Melody, family has always been the foundation. When she talks about returning to represent and bring honor to her family bloodline, it's clear she understands her place in something much bigger than herself. She's not just a reality star or an entrepreneur, she's someone who carries the weight of legacy. Her success, her choices, and her strength all reflect the sacrifices made by those before her. So when she says something is sacred, it's not just about the moment, it's about protecting the connection to that history. Over the years, the public has seen Melody transform. From being Martell Holt's wife and business partner to standing on her own as a mother, artist, and entrepreneur, her growth has been both painful and powerful. Her tone has shifted too. She used to explain herself often, trying to make people understand her side. Now, she simply states her truth and lets it stand. That's exactly what happened here. By saying "look up sacred," she didn't need to argue or justify, she just drew a boundary and left it at that. It was a reminder that everyone doesn't need access to her life or understanding of her path. There's something empowering about how she communicates now. She doesn't raise her voice, she lets her message speak for itself. That's what real strength looks like. Melody is not competing with anyone. She's not proving anything. She's living with intention, and that's what makes her journey so compelling to watch. People can speculate or twist her words, but the truth always shows through her calmness and her confidence. In a world where everyone wants to expose everything, she's showing the power of discretion. On Love and Marriage, Huntsville, we've seen how hard it can be to keep personal matters sacred. Cameras follow every argument, every tension-filled exchange, every misunderstanding. The pressure to respond publicly is constant. But Melody has learned to choose silence when it matters most and to speak only when there's meaning behind her words. Her latest message is proof of that wisdom. She's not engaging in unnecessary debates or trying to prove a point, she's defining what's sacred for herself and standing by it. Some fans believe Melody's statement was also a subtle response to the ongoing chatter surrounding her relationships and appearances. Whenever she posts something meaningful or participates in an event, people rush to interpret it. Some assume it's directed at someone specific, others turn it into gossip. But Melody's response reminded everyone that not everything is a message to someone else. Sometimes, it's just a personal declaration of values. And that's what this was, an affirmation of her boundaries and her peace. It's also important to note how her approach contrasts with the chaos often seen around her. While others might air grievances or seek validation through drama, Melody has chosen stillness. That doesn't mean she's detached, it means she's disciplined. Her energy is reserved for what matters most. That's something many people can relate to. When you've been through years of conflict, you start valuing peace differently. You stop explaining yourself to people who only want to misunderstand you. Melody's message carried layers of meaning. On one level, it was about protecting something intimate, a sacred ceremony. On another level, it was about protecting her peace and identity. She's reminding everyone that just because she's on television doesn't mean she owes the world access to her most personal moments. Being on reality TV has its challenges, but Melody seems to have mastered the art of keeping her heart protected while still being authentic on screen. That balance is not easy, but she's showing it can be done. The phrase "bring honor to my family bloodline" also spoke volumes. It reflected pride in her heritage and a deep awareness of where she comes from. It was about more than herself, it was about the legacy she's carrying forward. Melody has always been intentional about showing her children what strength and self-worth look like. Her choices, her independence, and her boundaries are lessons they'll carry too. That's why she takes her words seriously, because they shape more than her image, they shape her legacy. When people talk about Melody now, they talk about evolution. They talk about how she's moved from survival to stability, from conflict to clarity. Her statement about sacredness fits perfectly into that evolution. It's not a random comment, it's the result of years of growth. She's at a stage where she no longer allows confusion to define her. Everything she says or does now has purpose. Even when people try to misinterpret her, her calm energy speaks louder than any rumor could. The reactions to her statement were mixed, as always. Some fans applauded her for standing firm and setting boundaries. Others tried to dissect her words, assuming they were directed at someone specific. But those who truly understand Melody's journey knew exactly what she meant. It wasn't shade. It wasn't a dig. It was self-awareness. It was her reminding everyone that she doesn't move for validation or applause, she moves for purpose. And in doing so, she's showing how much she's grown. Over the past few seasons, Melody's story has been one of rediscovery. She's been through heartbreak, betrayal, rebuilding, and now, renewal. She's learned that not everyone deserves access to her peace. Her latest comments showed that she's not just talking about boundaries, she's living them. That's what makes her presence so powerful. She's not reacting to negativity, she's responding with grace. She's not explaining her every move, she's letting her growth do the talking. Many people who've followed Melody's journey from the start can see how far she's come. The woman who once fought to be understood now moves with quiet confidence. She's found her rhythm, and she's not letting anyone disturb it. This is why her words about sacredness resonate. They come from someone who has lived through noise and chosen peace. Someone who has faced misunderstanding and chosen clarity. Someone who knows the value of stillness after surviving chaos. As the seasons of love and marriage, Huntsville continue, Melody's ability to remain grounded will keep setting her apart. She's not trying to outshine anyone or prove anything, she's simply living authentically. Her message reminds viewers that growth doesn't mean perfection, it means prioritizing what matters. It means knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. It means understanding that what's sacred cannot be shared with everyone, and that's okay. Melody's story is one that continues to evolve. She's teaching by example that strength doesn't always roar, it sometimes whispers. Her calm confidence is a reflection of the lessons she's learned and the peace she's earned. By setting the record straight, she's not calling out anyone, she's defining herself. She's making sure that her narrative is rooted in truth, not noise. That's what true self-awareness looks like. Every word she spoke carried the energy of someone who's at peace with herself. What's sacred is this ceremony was not just a statement, it was a boundary, a prayer, and a reminder. A reminder that even in a world that feeds on exposure, privacy is still power. A reminder that honoring your roots and your family's name is a form of self-respect. A reminder that when you protect what's sacred, you protect your peace. Through her actions and her words, Melody continues to inspire others to value themselves, to choose peace over performance, and to remember that not everything needs to be explained. She's showing that silence can speak louder than noise, and that clarity is stronger than confusion. Her message was not just about her, it was a reflection of her growth and her faith. As time goes on, one thing remains clear, Melody is not the same woman she was when this journey began. She's evolved, elevated, and embraced her power. She's learned the meaning of sacredness not through comfort, but through challenges. And now, she carries that understanding into every part of her life. Her journey continues, but this moment, this declaration, will stand as one of the clearest examples of her transformation. Melody Shari has set the record straight. She's no longer asking to be understood, she's simply living her truth. What's sacred to her will remain protected, and no one can change that. In a world full of noise, she's chosen peace. And that, in itself, is the greatest statement she could ever make.